All right, so let's talk about it. We have some big races coming up. The November, I say November, elections happen in November, but the midterm elections, you get what I'm saying, happening just months away. We're getting right there to it. Two big races that we're following. South Carolina Senate seat. Left vacant-ish. There is an interim Senator Darlene Graham, after the passing of the late Lindsey Graham, and also here in North Carolina, Michael Whatley, the Republican challenger, and former Governor Roy Cooper. A lot to unpack, and that's why we have Julie Kay covering all things politics, just like Adam Schefter checking her phone just in case she gets any new updates.
There's a lot going on. I don't want to say so. It's happened before where I've been in here and I'd be like, oh, never mind, I just got a tweet.
Yeah, so she is the Adam Schefter of the newsroom, for those who watch ESPN. But, okay, where do we want to start? Do you want to start in South Carolina or
Let's
North
start in
Carolina?
South Carolina.
Okay, start in South Carolina.
Yeah.
That's the fresh thing.
Yes.
Senate filings open today. Tomorrow.
Yes,
Yeah.
but we're getting a lot of announcements today.
Okay.
And that's why I do have my phone, because I want to make sure I get everyone. So, of course, this morning, Myrtle Beach Congressman Russell Fry announced that he is jumping into the race. We're still fielding rumors maybe about interim Senator Darlene Graham, or just Senator Darlene Graham. Initially, everyone kind of thought this would be a temporary, just bridge, because of course she was so close with her brother and knew how he would likely vote, which of course is in line with President Donald Trump. But now we're hearing rumors that she might be running as well. President Trump actually endorsed her on Friday. She's getting a lot of interest from, other big Republicans, other big South Carolina Republicans and officials. She has not explicitly said that she is going to run, but on Saturday she released a letter to constituents saying it's time for me to step up for South Carolina. So maybe she's alluding to it. Who knows? At this point, of course, though, she's not a politician. She would still have to put together very quickly a campaign and a strategy. And so maybe if she is going to run, that's why we haven't gotten official word yet. Which brings me to the other people who have announced or are likely going to, mostly going to be people that we've heard before. I expect a lot of recurring names because they simply just did not have the time, or most people, the donation base, to put together a statewide campaign like this. So far we've heard Representative Ralph Norman over the weekend, recently ran for governor. I expect we'll see some other names who ran for governor, maybe Lieutenant Governor Pam Yvette, maybe Nancy Mace, Congresswoman. Only other official names thus far, businessman Mark Lynch. He was Lindsey Graham's most he was the biggest challenger for Lindsey Graham in the last primary, the official primary. And then also Duke Buckner, who's someone who's run a few times before, never had held political office, but a high-profile attorney in South Carolina. So there's a lot of names already out there, names we've heard before as expected, names that we might hear. Also, what was interesting as I was looking into it today, haven't heard any official word, but former Governor Mark Sanford actually changed in the FEC filings, changed the name of his, already existing campaign donation group to Sanford for Senate. So he hasn't said he's going to, but he changed the name and has been recently active.
I know where you're going with this one, Carlene.
Let me tell you about something that I did not expect you to see or hear today.
Very interesting pass, especially when he was governor.
It would shake things up.
Yeah. It would certainly shake things up.
Yeah.
It would.
It would get the people talking.
It would get the people talking.
He has a track record of winning in South Carolina.
He sure does.
He does, despite the controversies.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Well,
Didn't expect to hear that.
And that's not, that's why I hadn't really been looking. I was just searching through the elections commissions, what's recently been filed in South Carolina, or what's recently been changed. You have to file something to change the name of an organization. So that was interesting to see. No word yet if that's actually going to happen. Even someone considering a run, like again, Nancy Mace and Pamela Yvette are not official either, but they'd have to be active to some degree to test the waters.
They got campaign teams already.
They got to get things organized if they're even considering it.
Right.
These Senate seats are. You're talking about we look at Congress different than we did years ago because they hold so much power now. A lot of these folks, some of these folks did run for governor, but a governor still holds a lot of power. But these Senate seats are just, Yeah.
And the South Carolina governor has, more power than the North Carolina governor at this point.
Yeah.
It really does depend on the state. But with the way the federal government has been lately, not that the U.S. government is not used to being divisive across parties, but with things being so close, the splits being so close in both chambers, it is very crucial for each party to put their best foot forward. But at this point, I'm not really hearing any front runners. Of course, if Senator Darlene Graham were to enter into the race officially, and it opens tomorrow, but she would have another week before it closes. So we'll hear some names probably trickle in over the next week or so. But the backing of President Trump is huge.
It helps a lot in
It
South
helps a lot.
Carolina.
Yeah.
Let's go over to North Carolina, where we know the two. It's I think since the very beginning, we could say even in their primary races, we knew
Yeah.
those are going to be the two guys.
Absolutely.
So you have Roy Cooper and you have Michael Whatley. And polls suggest, again, these are just polls. This is nothing official. We won't know anything official until election
Until the day.
until the day.
Maybe the day after.
Maybe the day after, depending on how things shake out. But Roy Cooper has a sizable lead in the polling.
Yes, but from the most recent poll, a less sizable lead than he had before, which
Okay.
is really interesting. Now, not necessarily abnormal. The closer you get to an election, it makes sense that things are going to narrow because you start with this big group of undecided people, and then they start deciding. But the last time we talked about a poll, it was a Catawba College YouGov survey. We talked to Dr. Michael Bitzer, who led it. It was a 14-point lead for former Governor Roy Cooper.
Yeah.
Now, this is a different survey, so there could be a lot of, variables here, different polling method, just different group of people that they called, or just the fact that it's a month later. But this shows a 4-point lead for Cooper. So still
Oh.
Cooper in the lead, but a
Yeah.
significantly less dramatic one.
Yeah.
And again, polls are just polls, but it is really interesting because it looks like, this still has 48% of support for Roy Cooper, but 44% for Michael Whatley. So per this survey, Cooper's support hasn't actually changed, which isn't necessarily surprising. Democrats have been behind him from day one, whereas more Republicans are undecided for a lot of reasons. Number one, especially in North Carolina compared to South Carolina, President Trump's support has, waned a bit more. When we talk about gas prices and just the state in general is more split than South Carolina is. Also just could be the fact that Michael Whatley's name is getting out there more. He started out not being nearly at the level of Roy Cooper. It's hard to be at the level of Roy Cooper
Yeah.
in terms of name recognition in the state. But, maybe his name is just getting out there more. But no matter what, it is a really interesting poll. It'll be interesting to see if that continues, especially as we get into these last few months. I mean, some of these mail-in ballots could be sent as early as September. We get into these last few months, and this is when we're seeing the fundraising ramp up. Ads are starting. We've already seen some from Cooper, but Michael Whatley's team just started TV ads, I think, last week officially.
Yeah.
And so that could really throw
could
a
be
wrench in things. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know Michael Whatley and President Trump are closely connected, but I haven't heard President Trump recently kind of give him that open endorsement.
Yeah.
Am I missing anything with that? I know that sort of can help, maybe can hurt, depending, like on the state in a state like North Carolina.
That may be why is that we haven't heard much lately. That being said, though, I'm curious to see if that changes.
Yeah.
As we get closer. I'll be interested to see how closely Michael Whatley aligns himself with Trump's, which I expect he will in some of these ads that we're going to start seeing come out in the next couple weeks.
A lot of, if you look at the national networks, a lot of the focus has been on Maine, obviously.
Yeah.
You don't have to go through that. But North Carolina, South Carolina, with that primary coming up in South Carolina, and then just the race in North Carolina, two big and interesting races, I should say.
At least I don't have to worry about pitching for a while.
Right.
I mean, I've got
Right.
things covered.
You just got to worry about traveling.
Yeah,
Between
literally.
Raleigh and Columbia, two opposite directions. Julie K. Okay, I'm done. I have a lot more questions, but we'll save it because we still have time before the primary there in South Carolina election in November. So we still got time. I'm gonna hold off on some of these questions. Julie, when can folks catch your story tonight?
We'll focus on South Carolina at 4 and then North Carolina at 5:30.
Julie K. covering all things politics here on the show. Thank you as always, Julie.
Thank you.
Let's head to break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on the WCNC Charlotte.